Hey guys, how are you guys doing? My name is Grace. The channel is Grace's World TV 111. To all my current subscribers, you're welcome. To those watching for the first time, you're welcome as well. If you'd like to get to know more information about me, please feel free to go to the About section on my channel and you can get all the info you need to know. If this channel has been a blessing to you or you're enjoying the content, please feel free to subscribe, but also hit that notification bell so that when I release words, you'll have full access to them. And also, if this channel is a blessing and you're enjoying it, please feel free to donate and be a blessing and give. You know, I'm pushing forward the gospel of Christ, and there's nothing better that you can invest in than seeing souls saved and, you know what I mean, having extra money to give to the poor and do, you know, the works of Christ, which he's called us all to do. So, why am I on tonight? The topic of the word or the video that I'm releasing today is, ladies, don't date a man just for their potential. And it's a story based on, you know, something I experienced. And I mean, you can flip it for men as well. You know, don't just date a lady with potential if you're looking for something serious or, you know what I mean, a commitment or to settle down. So, what happened with me? I had dated a guy for 2 years. Oh, before I continue on, I always have my notes so that I don't forget what it is that I want to say. It really does help. So yeah, I dated a guy for 2 years. He was Christian. He was cute. He was tall. He had no kids. He played basketball overseas. Now, before you judge, I'm not a groupie or anything. We were in church. Yeah, and it's pertinent to the story, so just, you know, hold off. I met him when I moved to LA, you know, and he was all the things, you know, women we look for when we're looking for a guy and stuff. I will say this. I haven't had a lot of relationships. I haven't, you know what I mean? But I also don't invest more than 2 years in a guy. Now, I'll tell you why. You know, when you're godly dating, you know, I feel like 2 years is more than enough time, you know, for a guy to know if, you know what I mean, he sees you in his future. You know what I mean? Ladies, side note, please don't invest years and years and years into a guy and he's not talking commitment and he's not talking marriage, especially if you're in your late 20s, 30s, and 40s and you're believing, you know, you want to be married, you want to have kids. If he's not talking commitment, please don't invest that type of time. The only exception I say to this rule of like the 2 year thing is if, you know what I mean, you meet a guy, maybe you're in high school or in college, you know what I mean, and he's still growing. Both of y'all are taking classes together, figuring out who you are, but you know, like, you can see a future with each other, then yeah, it is going to take more than 2 years because he has to be established and stuff. But if you're in your late 20s, 30s, and 40s, you want kids and stuff, please date a guy that is established, not somebody with potential, because not only are you, you know, spending a lot of time together and so growing feelings for somebody, if it doesn't go to the end goal of what it is you want because he doesn't know who he is, how can he lead you? You know what I mean? If he's the man, y'all are in a relationship, you're supposed to submit to him according to the word, then how is he really leading you if he doesn't even know where he's going? So yeah. So back to the guy I was dating. He was actually in a transitionary place, you know, in his career, you know, where you played for a while and then it's like, okay, you got to start figuring out what it is you're doing next because, you know what I mean, you're getting older, but like, you know what I mean, maybe you've been on a team and it's just, you know, time to figure out what the new thing is. And so I met him at that time. He was still very adamant that he wanted to play basketball. And before I continue on, this is not like bashing to him or whatever. He was like a really sweet guy. You know what I mean? Like, I would never, you know, bash anybody that I've dated or anything. But this is just, you know what I mean? When I go through things, like, I always like to share the experiences so that, you know, somebody else can be helped, you know, and doesn't make the same mistake. So he was in that transitionary time and stuff. You know, I met his family. They really loved me and everything. We were having a great time. You know, a year has gone by, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, okay, praying that, you know, he'll figure out, you know, what he wants to do next. No team is really calling or anything. I don't want to push him the 9-to-5 route because, you know, in an effort to move our relationship forward. I didn't want it to be the type of thing where, you know what I mean, he's just getting a job or, you know, something he didn't really want to do just to move things forward with us. And then later on, he resents me and stuff. So time is still going on and like, okay, it's itching to that 2-year mark, you know, and things are kind of at a standstill. We really can't plan forward because, okay, he wants to play basketball, but okay, with no teams calling yet, you're kind of like, you know, in that stuck place. And so, you know, I was praying about it a lot. You know, it was like kind of weird because I couldn't really even bring him home to meet my mom and dad because it's like, okay, I have a dad that, you know, had a PhD or whatever, like top of the line, educated, all of that. I had a mom that worked in the nursing field. The first thing they're going to ask is, okay, so what are your plans? What are you doing? So if he can't even answer that question, then they would be looking at me crazy like, okay, what are you even doing talking to him? Even though he was like the sweetest guy, he served at church, like just like a good guy. Everybody spoke well of him and stuff. And so we kept dating, but it just got to that place where it was kind of weird because it was like, okay, we're kind of not moving forward. You never want to be the one putting pressure on the person. I needed him to know who he was and not, oh, who we are together in a relationship, but who he was, because if he doesn't know who he is, how can he lead me? Or if he finally figures out what he wants to do and it's like doesn't align with where I'm going, then we just wasted years and years and years. So I kind of told him, you know, I prayed about it and I prayed about it. And like, I was just kind of like, yeah, I think, you know what I mean? He needs to find himself or whatever. Like, I don't think, you know what I mean? We should continue on. Like, let him figure out what he wants to do with his life. Let me figure out what I want to do with my life. You know what I mean? If we get to that place, we're both established, you know what I mean? Our paths cross and we're not dating anybody, then we can get back together or whatever. And I mean, oh my God, it was so heartbreaking to tell him that because we had to break it off. We had dated for 2 years. And it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? At this point, he's like in love and it's just like, you know, like, what am I doing? How can I do this? It was just basically, you know, I was like, okay, well, we can remain friends. And you know what I mean? Like, just see what the future holds. And he was like, no, I can't be your friend. I'm in love with you or whatever. And so, just a sweet, really noble guy. I mean, even to the time when we did break up, I mean, we met up, it was a Saturday. He took me to lunch. And I mean, literally before we like parted ways, he had all of my fragrances. He brought me like a gift of like a box of all my favorite fragrances and stuff. So I was just like, oh my God. I like that last meeting where we met before we like parted ways. I like cried because I was like, who does that? And it's like, it was more painful too because it wasn't like, oh, he was emotionally abusive or he used to be verbally abusive or he used to beat me or he was cheating on me. He was actually a really noble guy. It's just he didn't know, like, at that point, the direction he wanted to take in his life. And so if you're in your 30s, if you're, well, late 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and you're looking to, like, you know, be married, committed, settle down, like, you definitely want a guy that knows who he is and where he's going and is already in what, you know, he's, you know, gonna be in or whatever. Sometimes being in LA, that can be tricky because you meet a lot of posers like, oh, I do this, I'm a movie director, I'm a this, I'm a that, and they don't really know what they're doing or whatever. You come to find out that it's not true. So to the ladies, I would advise that, yes, you know what I mean? Date a guy. Like, when you meet somebody, don't be quick to give your heart away. If you're at a place where you see marriage, kids, settling down, and you know he kind of doesn't know what he's doing, where he's going, Like, even if he's a nice guy, you really don't want to give your heart to that, because I promise you, even if you get together, even if you walk down the aisle, there will be issues later on, because, you know what I mean? Once you figure out who you are, he figures out where he, you know, who he wants to be. And if it's not aligning, then it's just all that time, you know, all those years invested, possibly kids. And then it's just where it's like, you know what I mean? It's a broken home where it's just hurt. And we don't want broken hearts. Because I mean, even to today, I don't talk, like, I lost a good friend because it was like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't just be your friend. You know, I'm in love with you type of thing is what he told me. So he's like, you know, if we're not dating, he can't even be my friend. So we don't talk anymore. So I lost a really good friend. And like, that hurt for a while. So it's just like, yeah, I was like, okay, never again. If I'm definitely dating, if I'm definitely looking to settle down, you know what I mean? He has to know where he's going or be established in what it is he's doing before I even like give it a chance or whatever, or I'm not going to do it because I left her heartbroken or whatever. I lost a good friend, and it's just like, it's not worth it. You know, we don't want to be using years and, you know, or you just never know how people handle things. Like, luckily, you know, he was in Christ and like, you know, was in the word and didn't kill himself or whatever. But not everybody can handle like a breakup with somebody that they really cared about. And so if we don't have to like, you know, cause like pain in somebody's life, or, you know what I mean? If we just use wisdom and take wise steps, then we can prevent a lot of heartache just all around, you know. And the same message goes to men. You know, if you're looking to settle down or looking to have kids, and you see that the lady you're with, you know what I mean, doesn't really know who she is, like, don't get married and say, oh, we'll figure it out. That's just gonna be a disaster. So I pray that this word is a blessing to you. I mean, it's just really, it wasn't where it was like negative. Like, it was a good relationship, but that's my thing. Those to me are more painful, because I feel like, okay, if he had like cheated or beat me or, you know, was abusive, that'd be one thing. But I think it hurts more when it ends on a good note. There's still love, but it's just, you know, sometimes love isn't enough. So let's be wise, you know what I mean, when we're making our choices. To those of you who have made choices in the past that, you know what I mean, you feel, you know, shame or guilt or condemnation, it's a new season. Forgive yourself, forgive the person that you were with or whatever, and then just trust that, you know what I mean, as you're going on, you're working on yourself, that person's working on themselves. Whoever is supposed to be in your life, you know what I mean, be your best you. So when they come, you know what I mean, like, that's a relationship that can blossom and move forward into something new. And this is not to bash anybody if, you know, you've had kids. Like, we've all made mistakes. Like, I'm telling the story of me dating the guy with potential versus being established. So this is no condemnation to you as well. Actually, God is a God that works all things together for good. Romans 8:28. And so be encouraged. Don't feel like, oh, I messed up or whatever. There's no hope for me. There's always hope, you know. And God is a God that can, you know what I mean, weave the pieces of your life together and still make it work for good. And if you're believing for a mate or whatever, or if you are the abuser guy, or you are the wife beater guy, or you are the emotionally abusive guy, this is not even condemnation to you. It's just, this is a word for everyone to be their best selves, you know what I mean? Figure out what you want to be, so that when you do meet that soulmate or the person or whoever it is you want to settle down with, you know what I mean, you're the best person for them. You know, you're an asset to their life and not a liability. You know, this is a new year. We're believing to hit some goals before the year ends. So I just advise that we all work on each other, we all work on ourselves and be our best selves and forgive ourselves and forgive whoever hurt us, you know, didn't hurt us, and move on and expect God's best. So I pray this word was a blessing to you. Please feel free, you know what I mean, to write in the comments section, you know, mistakes you've made in dating, because, you know, you never know who's scrolling through and it can be a blessing to them. I've been lucky where I haven't had, like I said, a lot of relationships and haven't been, you know, and things that is like too crazy. But I mean, I've witnessed some things from like girls I've known or like friends, you know what I mean? And this was my particular situation. It wasn't crazy or bad or anything, but I mean, a heart still got broken. So yeah, we want to make good choices and wisdom so that, yeah, we're in long-lasting relationships, we're fulfilled, we're happy, we're in our places of purpose, and like, yeah, when we connect to the person we're supposed to be with, it's just, you know, a fun, exciting time. So thank you for watching this word. If it's been a blessing, please feel free to donate. Like I said, we're pushing the gospel forward. I know you guys know a lot of women or men that could hear this and it could be a blessing to them. You know, with all the money that you guys donate, I make my channel better. I give to the poor. You know, it's just using things to elevate God's kingdom. So I hope this word is a blessing. Till the next word, God bless you all and have a good evening.